So the important thing to understand, for the public to understand, is the trauma that we go through after suffering an injury that in most cases is not our own doing. It's a lot of times it's the doing of employers who really don't give a damn, you know, about your safety, and so we're suffering as a consequence of that. We have the injuries, but it's what happens afterwards that's even more traumatizing, you know. And so I think I might have touched on this earlier, but when you submit a claim, if you are one of those unfortunate ones who might be off work for in excess of 6 months, your claim will be denied, almost guaranteed, or your claims, you know, depending on how many injuries you have, and or portions of your claim. Important portions, you know, significant portions of your claim will be denied. You have to expect that, but you shouldn't have to expect that. And why should you not have to expect that? Well, it's all you have. It's what you paid into, you know. It's what protects you. And but the way it works is that so whatever you submit, you know, you submit your claim. Initially you submit your claim. I'm putting in a claim for a brain injury. I'm putting in a claim for a broken leg. It's broken in 5 places. It's going to take over 6 months to heal, and maybe I'll never be able to work properly again with that leg because I'll never be. I do a certain type of work where I need to be able to walk properly. But so they will deny your claim, and then they will deny everything associated with your claim, including medical expenses and travel expenses and so forth. How you deal with that is that you have to submit objections. But those objections generally take 5 years before they get to the appeal process. Very seldom are objections resolved through just ordinary oral communication with your case manager or through your own communications, you know, trying to go higher than your case manager, which is almost an impossible thing. There is really no such thing as dealing with somebody higher than your case manager. She or he is the god of your case, and they make all the decisions. And so just imagine that you've been denied almost everything. You don't have a family, and you don't have a spouse, you don't have friends who can support you, and you just can't go back to work because you're severely injured, and yet your claim has been denied, your medical expenses have been denied, your travel expenses have been denied, and you're going under. You have a house, you're losing your house. This happens every day. People don't even know it. So, what are your options? Your option is to put in an objection. You object and you put an appeal. Well, appeals are not heard for 5 years. What do? You end up on the street. Or you end up on ODSP. Why should you end up on ODSP when you've been injured on the job?
What is ODSP?
ODSP, it's a a welfare system for disabled people. But disabled people um, that are, that's not related to work injuries, and they get. It's a very well, disabled people are living in way below poverty.
Right.
So-
And you are not disabled, you are only disabled as a result of workplace negligence.
Right, you're
You were a healthy person one day and not healthy the
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, so you're disabled in the sense that, yes, you're disabled either temporarily or disabled from working, or but as a result of injuries. And so just imagine, you know, in a corporate world, you're working in a corporation, and something goes wrong with your paycheck. So you discover that, oh my God, they're giving me, you know, $1,000 less a month on my paycheck. So there's a mistake going. There's something wrong here. And so you bring it to the attention of your payroll manager, and you say, well, can you resolve this? And the payroll manager says, well, we will, but first you have to submit an appeal. An appeal? Well, you'd be taken aback and say, well, you made a mistake. Can you just correct the mistake? Oh, no, it has to go through a process. I'm sorry. Really? And how long does that process take? Well, about 5 years. Really?
Hmm.
So, you lose your house? This is the reality that we face as injured workers.
Right, and I think statistically, today, the average Canadian only has enough savings to sustain them for 6 months
Exactly.
without an income.
Exactly.
So the consequences are dire.
Dire.
Mm.
And many people have ended up homeless. The public doesn't know anything about this.
Mm.
And suicides are very common for injured, disabled workers.
And I would imagine there must be a significant amount of people suffering from depression.
PTSD is for people injured with injuries that require more than 6 months to heal. PTSD is very common. Probably I'm guessing that it's probably 90% of injured workers develop PTSD or some kind of anxiety disorder, and the public has no clue about these things, and they also don't realize that a lot of people are forced to take drugs that they don't want to take, and there's an opioid crisis, and people dying right, left, and center of opioid overdoses and so forth. And it's well documented, and again, it's completely ignored by all our governments, our provincial governments and our federal governments.